Welcome to episode 1 of the Career SPARC Podcast. I'm Adam. I'm an ex-corporate leader turned executive leadership and career coach. I'm a master of neurolinguistics and human behaviour, a Gallup strengths coach, and a member of the International Coaching Federation, amongst other things. Most importantly though, alongside those credentials, I've survived a pretty unconventional career path, which has involved everything from business development in Asia to trading desks in London and saving leopards in Namibia at one point. Together, those credentials and that experience led me to develop the Career SPARC Framework, which I'll talk more about later on in this episode. For now, if you're a high-performing professional but you don't really know what's next, if you're tired of sacrificing yourself for results, if you're ready to lead more authentically, maybe you're wondering if success should really feel this difficult, or you simply know you want more, whatever more might be, then this is your podcast. Let's get into it. So you've probably had moments when you felt like you're capable of more or want something different. I know I have, but for whatever reason, you can't reach out and grab it. It doesn't mean what you have right now doesn't look great on paper, but deep down, you know it's just not doing it for you. Trust me, you're not alone. I completely get it. I've been there actually a couple of times. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the first and probably the most radical time. It's quite the story. So after about 10 years in the first serious role I'd had out of university, I'd made a heap of friends. I'd learned loads. I'd moved to London. I bought a house, fancy holidays, and I kept getting told, you're doing very well by those that mattered, although predominantly my mum, but by those that mattered. It looked fine, but it felt wrong. And then things changed in a way that I didn't see coming at all. It took a really dreary Monday morning trip on the Northern Line, on the tube, in London to serve up the catalyst for change. I was leafing through the Metro newspaper as one does and stopped to read this tiny little article about a small island in the South Pacific where there was a social experiment happening. People were volunteering to live with a local tribe, integrate with them and build a village and a community, a sustainable village. And like we all do, I gave myself a few moments to imagine what that was going to be like, and I mentally blocked out, the sights and sounds and smells of the metal tube that was hurtling me to work. And then as we pulled into the station, I was jolted back to reality and I joined the herd leaving the carriage. Typical scenario. But in a moment of clarity, which I can't explain to this day, I realized that I had a choice right there. Option A was to bathe in the exhaustingly long list of obstacles and use that as a justifiable excuse for not making a change, to confine it to dream status. And option B was resign and start the dominoes falling. Now, granted, option B sounds very binary. In fact, it sounds reckless. But I'd realised that once I'd taken such a drastic step, I'd have no option but to sort out everything that needed to be done. So that's what I did, without a plan, and on that very same day. I walked into work and I resigned. Now, fast forward 6 weeks, and my suit was a sarong. And I was living on the island with the tribe and building a village. Little did I know that decision didn't just change the next week or two. It led to 18 months of incredible experiences across the globe, US, Pacific, Africa. And it also served as the groundwork for me becoming a coach and the groundwork for this podcast that you're listening to right now. The Career SPARC is for leaders and it's for professionals who are successful by most measures, but they're wondering if there's something more, something extra. It's for people who want to perform at a high level without burning out, who want to lead authentically without sacrificing results, who are ready to figure out what's next, even if they don't know yet what that looks like or what they need to do to get there. Every episode is going to give you something useful, a framework, a perspective shift, a practical exercise, and it's all built around a methodology I call SPARC. 5 pillars that I found essential for sustaining high performance and tackling whatever's in our way. This isn't theory. It's distilled from years of coaching executives and high performers through transitions, hundreds of hours of studying behavioral psychology and neurolinguistics, and living through my own career reinventions. So sensible place for us to start in episode 1 is to bring SPARC to life for you. Let's delve a little bit deeper into what it really means. Spark. Well, the S is for strengths. Understanding what you're naturally brilliant at, not just what you're good at, but what energizes you. And learning how to leverage that without getting trapped by it is what strengths is all about. If you're not familiar with Gallup Strengths Coaching, it's fantastic helping you achieve this. And here's the thing. We're not designed to be perfectly well-rounded. It's a false goal, and we put extraordinary effort into tiny marginal gains in areas we're weakest, and that's a waste. Identify your strengths, understand how to leverage them, then double down on them, then double down on them again, whilst managing your inevitable blind spots. That's just part of being human. Strengths-based leadership isn't about ignoring weaknesses. It's about knowing yourself well enough to build around what works and develop mechanisms that stop what doesn't work becoming a tripwire. It's strategic self-awareness, and it starts with honest reflection about where your natural brilliance lies. That's S, that's strengths. Now on to P. P's for performance. It's delivering impact without burning out. Most high performers have been conditioned to believe that exhaustion is the price that we pay. That's the cost of excellence. Well, it's not. You can perform at the highest level and still have a life. You need systems, not just willpower. You need clarity on what actually matters, not just what feels urgent, and a better definition of productivity. And you also need to know your strengths. The problem isn't that you're not working hard enough. It's that you're working on everything. And when everything is a priority, nothing is. Performance in the SPARC framework is about ruthless focus, but protecting your energy at the same time. It's also about understanding your capacity, not what you can squeeze out of yourself when you're running on adrenaline and caffeine, but what you can sustain, because elite performance isn't about sprinting till you collapse. It's about pacing yourself for a marathon you didn't know you were running. Intentional and steady beats frantic and rushed every time. That's P. Now, A is for authenticity. So important. Leading in a way that feels true to who you are. Not playing a role, not faking confidence you don't feel, not trying to be someone else's version of a successful leader. Just showing up as yourself and being effective because of it, not despite of it. Positive psychology is great on this topic. We don't have to choose between being ourselves or being successful. The prize is being successful because you're being yourself. Authenticity doesn't mean oversharing or leading with your emotions. It means aligning with your external behavior with your internal values. It means having the courage to show up as who you actually are, not who you think you're supposed to be. We've all watched leaders and we've admired people in control and tried to mimic their style. But the problem is we're not them, and people can tell. Authentic leadership isn't about copying somebody else's playbook. It's about writing your own. That takes work, self-knowledge, the willingness to be seen, and it's worth it because people trust real and raw over perfectly fake, more so now than ever before. R is for resilience. If you take no risks, nothing changes. And if you take risks, then sometimes stuff goes in a direction that you didn't expect. Navigating setbacks, transitions, and uncertainty without falling apart requires resilience. Life doesn't go in a straight line, thank goodness. Careers definitely don't go in a straight line. So how do you stay grounded when everything's shifting around you? How do you bounce back when things go wrong? Resilience isn't about toughing it out or pretending you're fine when you're not. That wouldn't be authentic or human, actually. It's about having strategies, mental, emotional, practical, that help you stay steady when the shit hits the fan. It's a skill you can build deliberately, intentionally. C is for confidence, showing up with presence. But this is more about backing yourself even when you're uncomfortable. It's not arrogance, it's confidence. the kind that's built on self-knowledge, not self-delusion. It's also not about kicking imposter syndrome into touch. I hear that so much. How can I get rid of my imposter syndrome? In fact, it's about seeking out imposter syndrome and relishing the fact that we're feeling it, because it's an indication you're doing something new. And that means that change and possibility are right around the corner. Real confidence isn't about always knowing the answer or never doubting yourself. It's about trusting that you can figure it out, whatever it is, that you can handle whatever comes, that even if you fail, you'll just learn, you'll adapt, and you'll do again. Confidence is earned through action, reflection, and then repeated proof that you're capable. You don't build it by thinking about it or waiting until you feel ready. You build it by doing hard things, seeing yourself overcome them, and updating your self-concept accordingly. It's evidence-based, and it compounds over time. That's the C. That's confidence. So there's the 5 pillars: strengths, performance, authenticity, resilience, and confidence. Now, why these 5? Specifically these 5? Well, because they work together. They're complementary, they're compensating, and they're self-reinforcing. You can't have sustained performance without resilience. You can't lead authentically without understanding your strengths. You can't build confidence without backing yourself through challenges. Each episode of this podcast will focus on one of these pillars. We'll rotate through them as we go. Each in turn: strengths, performance, authenticity, resilience, confidence, and back to the beginning, building you a complete toolkit. In the next episode, we'll dive into the first one: strengths. So there we go. We're off and running, and you've ignited your spark. There's plenty more to come. That I can definitely promise you. So if you found this useful, you know what to do. Subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss future episodes. We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, and we're on Apple Podcasts. So wherever you're seeing this, there's other places you can find it. You can also find it on LinkedIn. There's a written version on LinkedIn. My newsletter goes by the same name, the Career SPARC. And if you're thinking about what's next in your career or leadership, then we should talk. Connect with me on LinkedIn. You'll find me by searching for Adam Pacey, and drop me a DM. So I'm Adam. This is the Career SPARC. You've ignited yours. Have a brilliant week, and I'll see you next time.